All right. Jake, you'll probably get annoyed with me for this question, but does it still get you that you haven't beaten the Stormers 6 consecutive times, and will you do whatever it takes to snatch victory in Cape Town? What I'm basically asking is this game personal for you?
Nathan, can I just again hit it on the head once and for all? I just did a stat the other day. Before these 6 games, we beat the Stormers 6 times in a row, and no media guy ever came to me and said, you've beaten the Stormers 6 times in a row, or Western Province 6 times in a row. And as I said, Griquas have beaten Western Province 6 times in the Currie Cup. It's irrelevant. I mean, it doesn't really, and that doesn't make it personal or anything. So, only people are making a big thing about it is you guys.
Okay, Jake. The reason I'm asking, because I know you personally, I just wanted to your reaction, but I'll move on to my next question. Jake, I'm not sure if you're aware of this or how active you are on social media, but a seasoned journalist, I shouldn't mention his name, but wrote an article about contrast diversity culture between the Bulls and the Stormers. He mentions that, yes, the results are there for you guys on the field, but fail with transformation. Is it perhaps a ploy to destabilize the side ahead of an important clash? I mean, what are your thoughts?
Look, I mean, at the end of the day, we all got transformation charters we've got to stick to. We've got to try and get to a certain number by 2030. It's part of our collective agreement. And as a union, we're striving for, to make sure that we can meet those goals in 2030. So, yeah, that's what we basically with, Nathan.
Cool. Thanks, Nathan. Stephen?
Thank you very much. How's it, Jake? How's it going?
Good, thanks, Steve.
Jake, the Stormers have lost quite a few players this week. Dobbo just announced, Warwick is out, Evan is out from last week, Loder's out, Herschel's out, Portnall's out. That adds to their, to already substantial injury list. Do you think that provides you with more of an opportunity? It increases your chances a bit more than it would normally have been?
Yeah, Steve, that's a difficult one. I mean, everyone, again, I said at the beginning of the week on a podcast, no one ever gets the perfect team to run out, any coach. I mean, I've been coaching for over 40 years, and you never really get your perfect team, So, it's very similar to any province or any time. Sometimes you get a team and they have a couple of injuries, but then you play against another team when you have all your injuries. So, I don't know if it's one or the other. I think, we're also missing a few guys. We got a lot of guys who left our province in the last couple of years. And if names like Dwayne Vermeulen, Trevor Nyankani, Walt Steenkamp, Ivan van Zyl. So I suppose the point I'm trying to make, it's irrelevant. You can only control what you can control, Stephen. And we both got injuries. We can only pick the best team that we think is possible for that game. And I'm sure that as the Stormers have done, they've picked a team they think is good enough to get the job done, and we've picked a team with what we have available to make sure we can get the job done as well.
A big guy missing for you is Ruan. Ruan Okia.
Yeah.
How will that affect you? I know he's been out for a while, but obviously in a big game like this, he's quite a big player. Sort of how do you think that could affect things, and when can we expect to see him back?
I'm sure he'll be missed in terms of the fact that he's been so important to us. We played 21 URC games the first year. We played 19 the second year, and we're playing 8 now. So that's 48 games. And I think these last 4 games are the only 4 games he's ever not been part of the URC teams that we put on the field. So he's obviously vitally important, Stephen. But saying that, everyone's got to try and find a way that you can adapt. If I use example of the Stormers, Salman Murat's out, Malherbe's out, Evan Roos is out, Warwick Galant's out, and I'm sure they're important players for them as well. So, yeah, I mean, I repeat myself. I think you never, ever have your ideal team, ever. I mean, even in the Springboks when I was there, I never had 23 that I would love to have had together, because when you get one back, another one's injured, or some guys away on international duty, or whatever the story is, you never really get to put the ideal perfect team together. I suppose what we're looking for as coaches is that whoever we put in there, hopefully our training sessions and the way we've put our plan together, it helps every player come in the group, whether he's the starter or the second choice or the guy that you thought wasn't going to play. If he plays well, then at least it makes it so much better for you as a group.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thank you.
How's it, Jake? How you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks.
No, it's all good. First things first, I'll ask about Janku. He's obviously been one of the really impressive guys. Just talk me through sort of your impressions of him as a guy, and how you see him. Do you see him as a ultimately a 4 or a 5?
Okay, so firstly, let me say I'm glad you mentioned him. He's really improved. I mean, there again is an example of no Ruan or Kia, and a guy like him comes in. And a guy like Reinhard Ludwig. I mean, Reinhard Ludwig is SA under 20 player, is also relatively young, but he's done his job well. And they both have improved incredibly. I mean, a guy like Janku, when I came here, he was a youngster. He's now obviously, he's not old, but he's obviously a little bit older and wiser and more mature. And the second part, Sim, you asked me, what was the second part you asked me? Sorry?
No, I just said sort of ultimately, how do you see him as a 4 or a 5? Because
sorry, that's what I was going to say. And I think the other thing that I sort of, I don't think that you should ring fence a guy into a 4 or 5 lock combination. You look at Whitelock and Retallick. I mean, they both can play 5, and yet they can play together in a game as well. So, yeah, I think the one thing which I'm quite happy about is that guys like Reinhard Ludwig and Janku Swanepoel and probably Ruan Vermaak can play 4 and 5, which is a good place to be for us as a group.
Yeah, and the last one, obviously, with these with these runs that the Bulls and the Stormers have had against each other. Obviously, the 6 that you mentioned, and obviously the 6 that we're mentioning a lot at the moment. Just your thoughts on John Dobson as a coaching adversary.
Yep.
Did you get that?
He's saying, what are your thoughts?
Oh, no, I mean, it's done well. I mean, any guy's got the team to 2 finals and 1-1 in a competition like the URC is, it's no mean feat. I mean, I think he's got to be commended. So, and there's no doubt they've definitely been the form South African side for 2 years. But I've said it many times. Things happen and cycles go around, and and teams develop, and and different combinations come together, and then teams change. So, hopefully it took them a long time before they beat us, and then we struggled to beat them again. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow we win the game, and then they're going to struggle for a while to get back and beat us. So it's just the way sport works. So as I said, I think it's they've definitely been the best team in South Africa. They've been Shield champions twice. They've got to 2 finals. They've won 1. So it's going to be a massive task for us and a massive opportunity for us to see how we've grown in the last couple of seasons.
Thanks.
Thanks, Justin. Dylan?
Thanks, Lunga. Hi, Jake. Hope you're doing well. Just from last season, one area that you've probably significantly strengthened from last season is your scrum with those 2 experienced front rows you've recruited. With that in mind, and also looking at the relayed surface at Cape Town Stadium, I mean, I guess you guys are going to get a run on it later today. You only just arrived in Cape Town. Are you hoping for what I could call a bit of a fairer contest? I mean, the Stormers in their press conference noted that when they were looking back on last season's quarterfinal, that players were slipping about a little bit, that they noticed that players were slipping around a lot on that surface, and that I mean, are you hoping for a bit of sort of fairer contest in the scrums with a bit of surface?
So Dylan, let me first say that the same surface that the Cape Town Stadium have is exactly the same surface we have now at Loftus. So, we obviously hell of a chuffed at the same ground, same surface. So what we used to in our training at ground and what we used to at our home games is the same. I think every week you're hoping for a contest at scrum time. I mean, every South African side, there's no secret to the fact that when Kitshoff and Malherbe were dominating South African rugby, that people expected them to be dominant in scrums week in and week out. And we've got a situation now where we've got Akka van der Merwe, who's an international hooker. We've got Wilco Low, who is rated really highly as a tight head prop in the world of scrummaging. And then a guy like Gerard Steenkamp, who came back from his first test against Argentina and was phenomenal in the scrum. So it's no, as I said, it's always going to be a contest in South Africa that your front row has to, come up with the goods, and playing on a field that we now used to, I don't see it that anything's going to change. It's going to be two front rows going hard at each other, trying to get dominance at scrum time.
Thanks.
Cool. Dylan, no final question there. You can take a final one.
All good. Thanks, Lunga. Thanks, Jake.
Nathan, final question.
Thank you very much, Lunga. Jake, final one. I just want to find out how are you guys approaching this week? I mean, something I noticed this week is different from the previous weeks, is less media activity, especially with the players. Obviously, as you heard now, the Storm is losing 3 Boks, including Ben Loader. What would the message be for your players before a North-South derby, and obviously with all the stats before the game?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest, Nathan. I mean, the message is going to be the same as when we played the Sharks or when we play the Connacht or whether we played away at Edinburgh. The message is we need to get good performances. We need to give ourselves a chance to win this competition. We need to play as well as we can, no matter who we play against. So I mean, it'll be the same. This is not different to any other week. I mean, I know it's a derby and it's a big game and it's away from home, but we want to win. We want to win every time we play a game. We want to be best prepared we can every time we play a game. And the message will be the same. Let's just make sure we play as well as we can. And give ourselves a chance to win the competition, because that's basically what everyone wants to do, is they want to win this comp. And the more wins you get, the more chance you've got of playing at home in the playoffs. And you've seen how important home playoffs are in the history of this competition. So, we just got to make sure that those messages we sort of put together pre-season are going to be exactly the same ones we share with them tomorrow.
Thanks, Nathan. Dasim, do you have a